Hello, welcome back to Montessori Moments. My name is Lauren, and I'm a former pre-primary Montessori guide turned homeschool mom of three. I have a 20-month-old, a 6-year-old, and a 10-year-old. Today I wanted to talk about how to choose Montessori materials from the store, the thrift store, Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, anything, because Montessori materials themselves can be extremely expensive and they're very well thought out materials with child development in mind, but there's ways to find less expensive options that can really serve your child's development at home. So I wanted to talk about a few things. Number one, when I'm choosing materials, is safety. So you have to think about your child's developmental level. Are they chewing on things? Are they putting things in their mouths? My daughter right now is. So I have to make sure that things are not a choking hazard. And if they are choking hazards, that I'm definitely watching her while she is working with them. You also want to think about finishes. If you have puzzles that are covered with paper or paint and your child is teething, they're going to be gnawing on them and they're going to be eating that paper and paint. So while in Montessori traditionally they like to stay away from plastic and like to stick to real natural materials, that is ideal. However, those items are more expensive, and also when you're dealing with a younger baby who's mouthing and chewing on things, having things that are plastic are more durable and can be easier to sanitize. So there are some pros to having some plastic things around. So safety is the number one thing when you're choosing materials. And then after that, talking about the type of material, something that is a natural material is ideal according to the Montessori method. However, I like to offer plastic items both for the availability of it, and also it provides a good sensory experience for the children. There's lots of different textured balls out there that have bumpy balls and ridges and squishy balls and different things, because right in the young toddler and infant phase, really up into preschool, children are sensorial learners. So it's all about the touch, the taste, the smell of things. They're putting everything in their mouth, they're touching everything and learning through that. So a couple reasons why natural materials might be a good option also is they're aesthetically beautiful. In Montessori, when she was designing her didactic materials, which are the materials found in the primary classroom, the weight of the wood, the density of the wood, was a really important part of the experience of the materials. But we're talking about adaptations for a home environment. So I wanted to show a few materials that I just wanted to highlight the reasons that I like them. Right here we have a ball tower. It's basically like a giant marble track. And Evelyn got this for Christmas last year from her grandma. And here's one reason why I love this material. It's for tracking. So, the baby's going to watch the ball going down and they're practicing tracking with their eyes. And they just love the repeated action of drop and track and drop and track and drop and track. But this can come apart in, all these different levels. So when she got it for Christmas, she was just sitting. She wasn't standing up yet. So I set this up with just 3 levels. And so it could sit right in front of her, and she could take her ball and drop it in. Now, if this was all this material was, she'd use it for maybe 3 months and then be done with it. And it would, still have been a great material, but I wouldn't be able to utilize it anymore. However, it comes with all these different pieces. Now that she's standing, I have all these levels on, and she can drop her balls down and pick them up, go chase them if they go flying across the room, pick them up, put them back in and drop their balls down, and she's still enjoying it. Now this material has even more pieces that allows you to make 2 towers with bridges between. She's not ready for that level yet because they don't link together very securely. So I would say maybe in a year, I'd bring out those bridges so that she can start building and taking apart this track by herself. Another great reason that I like this material is it is like a marble track, but it doesn't have marbles, which are choking hazards. So the balls that it came with are really safe. So this is Melissa and Doug, and it's hammering balls work. And it's a very simple work. And kids love banging on things. So in the Montessori classroom, kids would maybe take a puzzle piece and like bang on it, bang it on the table. And they shouldn't be banging puzzle pieces on the table, or they shouldn't be taking crayons and banging it on the table, or maybe taking, a material and banging it on another kid. So we're taught to redirect the kids to something that they can bang on. So that's why it's great to have something that allows kids to bang, because kids love banging. So this is, balls and hammers. One great thing about this is it's simple. There's no, designs on it, cartoons, faces or anything. It's very simple. So they're really focused only on the aim of it, which is hammer the balls down, boom, 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 and they fall out. It's really interesting. But another reason I love this is because the balls that it comes with. And I got this material when Evelyn was much younger, and I used the balls in a homemade object permanence box. So we were able to use these balls before she was ready for the material. So I call it stretching the material. I'll see if I can insert a clip of Evelyn working with her homemade object permanence box here. Mommy. Here's another example of stretching a material. These are simple blocks, and they came in unit block box of all the different types of unit blocks. So there was, cylinders, rectangular prisms, and cubes, and little bridges and stuff, and you can build with them. But when you're an infant, you're not ready to build with blocks, but you are ready to have blocks. So when she was little and just learning how to grasp, she could hold one block and pass it from hand to hand, or just look on it, or just chew on it. And then maybe I'd give her another block, and then she would bang them together. And that was a lot of fun. Then when she was a little bit older, I found this at IKEA, I think for $1.99, and it was perfect size for these blocks. So I put 9 out in a bowl, and then she would do one-to-one correspondence in there. And now she's kind of graduated to a bigger one-to-one correspondence, and she's paying attention to the color of the blocks, and she's sorting them into blue, red, and yellow. So, and there will be more that I can do with this set of blocks. I also used the cylinder blocks to do a cylinder imbu care box where she dropped the cylinders into the box. And that's great for, hand-eye coordination and control of movement. I'll see if I can find a picture or a clip of that to insert here as well. But again, these are simple. These are not ABC blocks. If that's what you find, then that's what you can use. But when you are looking for materials, things that are as simple as possible, so there's not a lot of distractions. So that when you're, those ABC blocks, they'll have pictures on the sides and numbers and letters and things. But in Montessori, you want to focus on the real direct aim of the material and not try and confuse am I supposed to be looking at the letters here or the pictures, or am I sorting by color, or what am I supposed to be doing here? So simpler the better. These were a set of nesting and stacking cups from a good friend. And this is just an example of how a simple material can really engage your child for a long time, and you can stretch it out and use it for a long time. When she was younger, I gave her just 2 cups, and she could figure out how to put one cup inside the other and how to stack one cup on top of another. And as she grew, I added another cup. And so now she has 3 cups. She can figure out how to stack the 3 cups and how to nest the 3 cups. And now she has all the cups. And it took her a while, but it required a lot of concentration for her to learn how to stack all the cups and then how to nest all the cups. And these are not expensive materials. They are very simple materials that really engage my toddler for long periods of time. They're really great for cognitive development, for hand-eye coordination, for language development when we're talking about the colors, when we talk about different aspects, on the cups here, she's looking at the triangles and pointing to them, and she's talking about the color of the triangles. She's looking at the dots, these circles on here. We're talking about the colors. So really great. This is one of our language materials, and this is matching farm animals. And this has been out on the shelf for a long time, and she loves this work. And so we've got a sheep, a goat, a hen, a cow, and a horse in here. And I have some more farm animals that I haven't put out yet that all came in this $11 tube, TOOB, from Safari Ltd. They have a bunch of great collections of language manipulatives. So this is already, I feel like, worth its money. But I know that I'm going to be able to use these figurines, or Evelyn will be able to use these figurines for years to come, because Montessori uses figurines in all language work up, into primary level. So cow, if you think about cow, that's one of the first words that children learn how to read and spell. So when she starts working with the movable alphabet, she'll have these little figurines that she can build the word cow. K, k, ah, oo, Another one, hen, another good CVC word. And also, Montessori primary level uses the farm for teaching grammar. So when she starts learning about articles and nouns and adjectives, I'll be able to use all these same figurines. So these are really going to be a good bang for my buck. So those were just a few of the really simple, inexpensive materials that I wanted to highlight today to kind of show you that Montessori at home does not have to be expensive, does not have to be complicated. When you're looking for materials to add to your collection, think about, how can this material grow with my child? How can I use it in different ways? So a common thing you may have noticed about the materials that I've shared so far is that none of them are battery powered or electronic. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one being that when you're looking at a battery powered toy, there's a lot of complicated mechanisms and engineering that happens underneath that plastic that the child isn't able to visualize, see, or even if they could see, at their age, they wouldn't be able to make sense of it. I can't make sense of how a keyboard is made myself. So instead, something where the child can see all the mechanisms right in front of them and make sense out of them, something that's simpler, is more ideal. And then there's another reason, and I want to read this beautiful passage by Maria Montessori from The Secret of Childhood that kind of explains the reason for simplicity in Montessori materials. Okay. Adults have taken it for granted that children are sensible only to gaudy objects, bright colors, and shrill sounds. They make use of these to attract a child's attention. We have all noticed how children are attracted by songs, by the tolling of bells, by flags fluttering in the wind, by brilliant lights, and so forth. But these violent attractions are external and transitory and can be more of a distraction than a boon. We might make the comparison with our own way of acting. If we are busy reading an interesting book and suddenly hear a loud band passing in the street, we get up and we go to the window to see what is happening. If we were to see someone act in this way, we would hardly conclude that men are particularly attracted by loud sounds, and yet we make this conclusion about little children. The fact that a strong external stimulus catches a child's attention is merely incidental and has no real relation with the inner life of the child, which is responsible for his development. We can perceive evidence of a child's inner life in the way he immerses himself in the fixed contemplation of minute things that are of no concern to us. So if you think about if you were sitting down reading a book, really enjoying yourself and concentrating, and suddenly a car alarm went off outside, it would draw your attention. You definitely would be attracted to it. But that doesn't mean that you need car alarms to be entertained. That just means that loud things capture attention. So, yes, children are attentive to bright lights, bright colors, loud sounds, but that doesn't mean that that's what they should be concentrating on. If you bring down the variety of colors, if you bring down the designs on things, if you simplify things, they're able to more deeply concentrate on whatever they are working on. And children really are attentive to simple things when they're given space from distractions of the bright lights and the bright sounds. So that's just Montessori's beautiful explanation of why we don't have a lot of battery-powered things in our Montessori homeschool. So I hope that you found this helpful and interesting, and I would love to hear any questions in the comments. Give me an idea of what you'd like to hear about next in how we Montessori at home. Have a great day. Bye.